Hello, everyone. This is William Armstrong. I just wanted to read about an article on KrebsOnSecurity.com explaining a thing or two why I'm not very pleased about this and the fact that scammers decided to send Uber to take elderly lady to the bank. This article is published on KrebsOnSecurity.com August 4th, 2022. In 3, 2, 1. Email scammer sent an Uber to the home of an 80-year-old woman who responded to a well-timed email scam in a bid to make sure she went to the bank and wired the money to the fraudsters. In this case, the woman figured out she was being scammed before embarking for the bank, but her story is a chilling reminder how far crooks will go these days to rip people off. Travis Hardaway is a former music teacher turned app developer from Townsend, Maryland. Hardaway said that his mother last month replied to an email that she received regarding an appliance installation from Best Buy Geek Squad. Hardaway said that the timing of the scam email couldn't have been any worse. His mom's dishwasher had just died and she'd paid to have a new one delivered and installed. I think that's where she got confused because she thought the email was about her dishwasher installation, Hardaway told Krebs on Security. Hardaway said his mom initiated a call to the phone number listed on the phony Best Buy email and that the scammers told her she owed $160 for the installation, which seemed right at the time. Then the scammers asked her to install remote administration software on her computer so that they could take control of the machine from afar and assist her making the payment. Yikes. After she logged into her bank and savings accounts with scammers watching her screen, the fraudster on the phone claimed that instead of pulling 160 out of her account, they accidentally transferred 160,000 to her account. Note that scammers stupidly, I repeat, scammers stupidly have a habit of saying that you accidentally transferred more money than they needed, which is false. Scammers edit the HTML on the web page to make it look like it was more money transferred and that they need your help to return the money back. Scammers do this in the form of a refund scam that is quite annoying, which is very annoying. Scammers tend to combine multiple scams into one to sneak it by you so quick. They took control of her screen and said they accidentally transferred 160,000 into her account, Hardaway said. The person on the phone told her that he was going to lose his job over the transfer error. This is not the first time scammers have said they're going to lose their jobs over the transfer error. Scammers just do this. It's just a ruse to get you to send extra money back or refund money back. This is like a combination of a tech support scam or refund scam. So a combination of both combined into one big one that he didn't know what to do. So they sent her some information about where to wire the money and asked her to go to the bank. But she told them, I don't drive, and they told her, no problem. We're sending an Uber to come help you with the bank. Yikes. This is where it gets interesting. Scammers nowadays will go very far to rip people off, but in this case, they decide to send Uber to come help her to the bank. So why, scammers? Why would you send an Uber to a random stranger's house? That's bad. Why would you do that? Like sending Uber to come help someone to the bank? That's not right. That's not okay. Hardaway said he was out of town when all this happened and that thankfully his mom eventually grew exasperated and gave up trying to help the scammers. They told her they were sending an Uber to pick her up and it was on its way, Hardaway said. I don't know if the Uber ever got there, but my mom went over to the neighbor's house and they saw it for what it was, a scam. Hardaway said he has since wiped her computer, reinstalled the operating system, and changed her passwords, but he says the incident has left his mom rattled. She's really second guessing herself now, Hardaway said, and she's not computer savvy and just moved down here from Boston during COVID to be near us, but she's living by herself and feeling isolated and vulnerable, and this stuff like this doesn't help. According to the Federal Bureau of Investigation of FBI, seniors are often targeted because they tend to be trusting and polite. More importantly, they also usually have financial savings, own a home, and have good credit, all which make them attractive to scammers. Note that senior citizens are more vulnerable to this than non-senior citizens because senior citizens own a home and have financial savings and good credit. That's why they're more vulnerable to scammers than non-senior citizens are. But that also means that some non-senior citizens have also had scammers come to them too, have inadvertently gotten scammers. And I'm one of those people who have had scammers ring my mom's home phone number a long time ago inadvertently, and I managed to have fun and play with them, and they got very angry and lose their temper with me after they called saying I have a virus on my computer, which was false. So I decided to play with the scammer's time and waste the scammer's time to a point where the scammers just went pow. They just lost their temper over the phone and got very rude and hostile. And to make matters embarrassing, one of the scammers that was tech support, it was fake tech support that had an Indian accent, decided to almost say that I'm a POS or a piece of sugar honey iced tea. They tried to say it, but their Indian accent was so deep that it necessarily didn't sound like it should when they were trying to say that I'm a POS or a piece of sugar honey iced tea. That's code for the profane word OSH itself. Scammers usually, it's reported that through scam baiters like Trilogy Media, Jim Browning, most of them are from India, something like that. Others can come from Nigeria or the Middle East. Additionally, seniors may be less inclined to report fraud because they don't know how, or they may be too ashamed of having been scammed, the FBI warned in May. They might also be concerned that their relatives will lose confidence in their abilities to manage their own financial affairs, and when an elderly victim does report a crime, they may be unable to supply detailed information to investigators. In 2021, more than 9,200,000 victims over the age of 60 reported losses of $1.7 billion to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, IC3. The FBI says that represents a 74% increase in losses over losses reported in 2020. The abuse of ride-sharing services to scam the elderly is not exactly new. Authorities in Tampa, Florida, said they're investigating an incident from December 2021 where fraudsters who stole $700,000 from elderly grandparents used Uber rides to pick up bundles of cash from their victims. So according to TampaBay.com, this is an older article, but I'll read it, which is related to that article I read from Krebs on Security. From the Tampa Bay Times, Hillsborough detectives seek Uber's help in solving a big bucks elderly scam again. Okay, this is a paywall that I'm behind, so I'll just minimize that and I'll show you. It just says Tampa. Once again, Hillsborough County detectives are looking for help from Uber in solving a scam that built big money. In one case, $700,000 from elderly grandparents. In the latest con, a 75-year-old North Tampa man was contacted by someone claiming to be an attorney representing his granddaughter who was in legal trouble according to court records. In a scenario familiar to investigators called the grandparent scam, the man was convinced to withdraw $10,000 on May 11 to bail the granddaughter out of jail. He originally was instructed to go to a bail bonds business, but then was told someone would come for the money via Uber. A silver Toyota with an Uber plate on the front dashboard picked up the cash according to a search warrant. Uber confirmed a trip to the man's address according to court records. A search warrant signed by a Hillsborough judge seeks further information about who purchased the ride and where the money traveled. Uber strictly prohibits the use of Uber app to commit crimes and regularly works with law enforcement and assists with an investigation, said an Uber spokeswoman via email to the Tampa Bay Times. We've been working with the Hillsborough County Sheriff on this case in accordance with our law enforcement guidelines. According to those guidelines, Uber maintains user data as described in its privacy notice and terms of use provided to customers and discloses user data to law enforcement in accordance with the Electronic Communications Privacy Act. So long story short, the scammers have decided to use Uber to pick up an elderly lady to take her to the bank. And to make it even more worse, this isn't the first time scammers have abused Uber to pick up cash from victims for scams. So this is going to be a bit more common in 2020s and beyond, where scammers may decide to start using Uber or Lyft, or like mainly Uber or Lyft, to start conning people like the elderly as such and take the elderly people to bank through the Uber or Lyft app. But Uber and Lyft prohibit illegal misuse of fraud or criminal acts. Like, they basically prohibit misuse of it. Therefore, any crooks that attempt to misuse Uber or Lyft for illegal and illicit purposes, they will be investigated to their appropriate law enforcement in their jurisdiction and or municipality. So having that said, if you get an email, a phony email from a company pretending to be someone, don't respond to the email. Just delete the email if it's an email pretending to be from Best Buy or Geek Squad, and or if you get a phone call pretending to be from some company saying you got a virus on your computer, just hang up and don't let the scammers get a hold of your money, and don't let them get a hold of anything that you have, neither access to your computer. Do not let scammers get remote access into your computer. It should be self-obvious, because tech support scams have been a lot common in Jim Browning, Trilogy Media, Scammer Payback, Scammer Revolts, Deo. All of them are scam baiters that fight scammers that try to con people out of their hard-earned money. So this doesn't go without saying. Do not let a random stranger connect to your computer over the internet you don't know well and or don't trust. This is William Armstrong signing out. I will see you next time. Bye-bye. And think before you answer a phone call or an email, and that'll save you plenty of time, headache, and money. Goodbye.